Hi, everybody. My name is Miss Holly, and I'm here with Miss Jennifer. We are librarians at Santa Clara County Library, and today we are going to bring you a program called No Sew Heart Pillows. Using simple items at home, you're going to be able to make a heart pillow. Before we begin, I want to let you know that for those who are joining me in the Zoom webinar, you don't have audio or video, so please use the Q&A at the bottom of the screen to ask questions. But if you're watching in Facebook Live on the SCCLD page, you can post your questions, and my partner will do her best to ask those questions, and I'll do my best to respond. So please understand this is a recording of a program. If you're following along, that's great, but I can't slow down. So if you need to review something, you can just watch the recording again. Does that make sense? So you may not finish this program the same time or at the very end when I do, but take your time at home. We're learning a skill, and if you need to review or watch something, know that this is pre-recorded and it'll be streaming again on Facebook if you want to access it. Very good. For today, you're going to need 2 pieces of felt, pillow stuffing, scissors, and a pencil or marker. So great. So now that that's all settled, let me show you what the materials are. So I'm going to share. Great. So after today, we're going to learn how to make this. This is a no-sew heart pillow that I was able to make prior to this program. I had some orange felt, so this is what I did. I cut the shape of a heart, and then with the strips on the side, I tied it. Again, not using a needle or thread, and I tied it, I stuffed it, and now I have a heart pillow that I can give to somebody I love, or I can just keep it for myself. All right, friends. Again, I decided to use the shape of a heart just to celebrate February. If you find that you prefer a square or a circle, that's up to you. Again, I'm just going to show you how to create this, and it's up to you what you decide to make. Okay, great. So I'm going to put this aside. Again, let's talk about materials. You're going to need 2 pieces of felt, scissors, some stuffing, and a marker or a pencil. Now, the stuffing is pillow stuffing. You can find it in the store, or I'm not telling you to, but you can open up a pillow at home and you'll find the stuffing inside. If you find that you don't have access to the stuffing, you know a clever thing you can do at home? If you have a lot of cotton balls, you can actually unravel them and open them. And if you have enough, you can use the stuffing in your pillow. So here's a cotton ball. If you tug at it, you can pull it apart. And with enough of these collected, you can use this as stuffing inside your pillow if you find that you don't have access to this. Okay? I'm going to put that aside. Also, with the felt, I'm not sure what size you're using at home. If you have a really little bit, only a tiny bit of felt, your pillow is going to be super tiny. If you have a larger amount, obviously it's going to be a little bit bigger. So keeping that in mind, I want you to work with what you have. There's no specific size. That's what I'm trying to say. Again, the more felt you have, the bigger your pillow. The smaller you have, it's going to be pretty tiny. Good scissors is always helpful because you're going to be using this to cut the felt. And then I'm going to show you what to do with the pencil and the pen. Okay, so like I mentioned before, we're using a heart shape today. Do you know how to make a perfect heart? I don't. I really don't. So whenever I have to make a heart, I do this trick. I get a piece of paper, I fold it in half, hamburger side. I get a pencil or a pen, depending on what you want to work with, and I draw half of a heart. if I cut that out, to me, it's going to be a perfect heart because it's going to be the same as the other side. See? That's the best I can do. That's the best art I can do. It's a lot easier than drawing it freehand. So we have a heart. The next thing you're going to do is you can get your pencil or your pen, whatever writing utensil you have. You're going to draw another heart at the center. You want to leave about, I would say 2 centimeters from the outside line. See, Miss Holly's heart, I didn't draw it very well. You have your heart. You're going to draw another heart in the center of it. It's about 2 centimeters. And then you're going to draw lines all around the edge. These are going to be the tassels. Here, let me show you what the result's going to be. So this is a template for what I'm trying to make here. I'm trying to do the shape of a heart, and then I'm drawing these lines so I can create a template for these tassels. Do you see? Okay. Let me put this aside and show you again. So here's my paper, and I'm just drawing lines. How wide are these lines? Well, you don't want to make them too thin because when you tie them, you're going to have a lot of holes in your heart. You want them to be about a little bit less than a centimeter. It's okay if they're not all the same width. Again, we're just doing this kind of as a template to begin with. For those of you who don't feel comfortable doing things freehand, having this template is really good. So do you see how this has all the lines? I'm going to fold it again, and I'm just going to cut where all these lines are. Here's my template. What I can do now is get my piece of felt, put my heart over it, and then I could trace it. So that's one way to start your project. You guys want to be daring? You want to try doing this freehand? Okay, so for those who are more comfortable tracing, you can start with that, or we can just do it freehand, which I'm going to do right now. So here is my felt. Ultimately, what's going to happen is you're going to need to draw a heart like this. Typically, I would suggest using a pencil because you won't be able to see the marks, or you could erase it. With a marker, you're going to be able to see it. And so I don't think it looks as pretty, but for the sake of showing you guys on the video today, I'm going to do it with a black marker. And I'm basically going to draw the same template on here. So you just need to draw another heart. And then you're going to be cutting these tassels in between. See? And after all of that, hopefully you'll have something that looks like this. So you have your heart and you have these little tassels, right? It's very important that these tassels are long enough for you to tie. If you find that it's too short, you can't pick it up and tie it in a knot, you can get your scissors and just cut it a little bit deeper. So now that we have a heart, the tassels are cut out, let's start tying it. I like to start right here at the center. You could either start at the center where the dip is or at the very edge. Whenever I start on the side and I walk away, I kind of lose my place. So it doesn't matter which side you begin with, but what you're going to do is you're going to get a piece. They're lying on top of each other. You pick it up and you're going to tie it in a knot. Oh, I hope you guys know how to tie things in a knot. So do you see? I'm going to tie it in a knot. Just one knot. Did you guys see that? Okay, so I'm going to get the next piece next to it. This is the top and this is the bottom. And I'm going to tie this in a knot. Okay. I'm going to continue doing this all around the heart. Sometimes the tassels, I can get them mixed up. So whenever I tie it, I pull it to the side so it's out of the way. So this is the next one, right? I'm going to pick it up and tie it. And then I'm going to pull it to the side. It's as simple as that. It's just cutting the edge, making tassels, and then tying them together. If you find that it's really hard to tie, you probably need to cut the tassels a little bit longer. If they're too skinny, you run the risk of kind of ripping them. So you need them to be wide enough. And then begins the process of just tying it all the way around. You see? So here you can see I started tying it. And once I go all the way around like that, it's gonna look something like this. This is kind of, I started it, I finished one side, and then I got up to here, and then I stopped. But before I start moving on, showing you how to fill it, is there any questions from the audience so far? No? Anybody? Does anybody have a question? Everybody's great? Good. As you can see with the choice of felt, the early one I showed you, you can use the same colors to make one color heart, or you can get two different colors of felt and make it, one side different color. You see how the tassels, it looks kind of nice when it's just like a change of color. Good. Okay. So let me repeat that. You have your heart shape. You've cut your tassels all the way around the heart. They're deep enough so you can easily tie it. You kind of get comfortable with tying it, but when you're not quite finished with it, when you get to about, I would say, you need to leave enough room to stuff it that your hand fits in. Does that make sense? So I stopped right here because at this point, after tying it all, you need to remember to put stuffing inside of it. So here we have kind of a half-finished heart. I'm going to open this tiny little hole that's available to me. And then I'm going to stuff it with stuffing. Now, how much you put in here is up to you. Do you like your pillow really, really fluffy? Or you want to put as much as you feel comfortable? But if you overstuff it, some of the holes might show through. Some of the holes might show through. So you might find that you have to take away some of the stuffing. If there is some holes peeking through stuffing that you don't like, what you can do is get some tassels and then tie it off. Here, let me show you. So I'm going to overstuff this heart and hopefully you'll see what I mean. Again, as I stuff it, you can kind of see the shape of the heart now. Okay. So for my project, the stuffing's inside. I just need to tie off the rest of this, and then my project will be complete. It, depending on how much time you have, I think one pillow, depending on the size, takes me about, it could take me about maybe close to an hour or two to finish one, but it depends on the size and if you're not interrupted. This is one of those projects where, you might start tying a little bit, but then you have to go and do some of your homework, and then you can always return back to it. And if you accidentally tie some that don't belong together, nobody's gonna know. So, see, now that the stuffing's in there, it's kind of tricky to close now, but I'll figure it out. Okay, so let's try to finish this one together. I'm gonna tie that. Y'all kind of get jumbled up, so it's kind of hard to figure out where it belongs. But do you see, there's some holes peeking through that I don't like. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get two strands that are adjacent, and I'm just gonna tie it together to try to cover that hole. Does that make sense? So if you find some spots that you don't like, that's peeking out too much, just get some of the strands and tie it. And then hopefully it'll hide that hole. Does anybody have any questions? No?
Nope. No question.
Everybody's pillow is fantastic. I bet everybody's done right now. Okay, so I'm just gonna try to finish this. And as I mentioned before, the shape I chose today was heart. At home, you can make it easy on yourself. You can just make a square. You can make a circle. You can make whatever shape you want to. You just need to draw that shape, cut out the fringe or the strands, tie it together, and yeah, you have your pillow. This is a really fun project that anybody in the family can help out with, so long as they know how to tie. Tie a knot. Okay. Yeah, it's hard. Let's see. Yeah, it's really hard if you make the strands really short. It's really hard to get your fingers in there and trying to tie it. Oh, see, yeah, there's some holes in there that I don't like. I just need to find the holes and then just tie it to another strand that's next to it. And then voila, you hide your imperfection. Come on, pillow. And then just kind of push the filling into the little spots so you can kind of like flatten it out or puff it. Yeah, and by the end of this, you'll have a pillow. Here's one. Here's another one. Okay. Now, does it matter what type of knot you do? No, I do a very simple knot, you know. I do a very simple knot. And then if you find that your knot isn't strong enough, you can just do a double knot. Just tie it again. And if you mess up and you accidentally tie like one strand that's all the way over here to a strand over here because you weren't paying attention, that's okay. Nobody's going to know. So nobody's going to know the imperfection. Nobody's going to know. You see it? Okay, friends. So just to repeat, what you want to do is you get 2 pieces of felt. I'm folding this in half. You can either use a piece of paper to trace, or you can just get a pencil and draw directly onto the felt. I'm not sure if you guys can see at home, but I have a pencil mark right here. So instead of using the paper to trace it, I'm just gonna cut it directly onto the felt, and I'm gonna cut it out. So I'm gonna cut out that initial heart. Be careful. Let's open that up and see how it looks. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, it looks like a heart, right? Yep. And then I'm gonna cut tassels. So basically I'm cutting strips onto the edge of it. I'm making them a little less than a centimeter and then hopefully about 2 centimeters long because I need to be able to tie it. If I do it too short, like this short right here, that's really hard for my hands to tie. You see? Like, I need it to be longer like this so I can be able to tie it. So again, so this method is not using the trace pattern, but I'm just kind of freehanding it and I'm just gonna cut strips all around the felt and then I'm gonna start tying it. Maybe at home you're saying, oh, that's messy. She's just cutting random things. Yeah, it is kind of messy.
We do have a question from Facebook from Ella.
Okay.
Asking does it have to be the same colors as yours?
No, of course not. So these were pieces of felt that I found lying around. As you can see, this one is pink and gray, and this one was this purple and yellow. I had enough orange to make one big orange one. This is your project, so I want you to make it your own. You can use whatever colors you want. You can use black, you can go use polka dot. I hope that you just learn this technique and then you can start making all sorts of pillows at home. But yeah, use whatever color you want. Thanks for that question. Okay. I'm happy to answer any more questions if anybody has any. Very soothing just tying these. And again, this makes a great gift if you want to give to somebody you love, or if you want to keep it for yourself. It's, I don't know, pillows are such a very practical, useful thing to have, right? And I don't think it takes a lot of focus. I know you're tying things, but it's kind of a very soothing, mindless thing. You can have a video on in the background, or you're just tying it all the way around until you get to the point where you stuff it and then you just close it off. Anybody can do this. And I hope all of you at home can do this. Oh, there's a question.
So the other question is, can we use other materials apart from felt?
That is such a smart question. So the question is, can you use any other materials besides felt? Well, let's say you have fabric, like cotton fabric. It's a little bit harder to use that because the difference between cotton and felt is felt, when you tie it's more, it won't rip. With cotton, if you tie it off, because of the material, it might actually rip if you try to tie it with basically kind of cut it and tie it like this. There's a huge possibility that might rip. What other materials? I bet if you use plastic, like a plastic trash bag, it might be okay because when you tie it, it's less likely to rip. I'm just thinking about what type of materials you might use. Yeah, it's possible you can use other materials, but yeah, like like paper would rip, cotton would rip, plastic would work. Um, Gosh, if you guys can help me name other materials, like we can think about whether or not it would work. I don't know what other materials you would use. I hope that answers your question. Is there any more questions?
Let's see, but I do have a question. So instead of if they don't have stuffing at home, they can use cotton balls.
Yeah, as I mentioned before. So for this for this project, I'm using stuffing, which is the type of stuffing you can typically find in stuffed animals or pillows. But did you know if you have a ton of cotton balls at home, you can unravel it and essentially use it as see, I pulled a side of it. All cotton balls are is just like really tightly wound. You can unravel it, and if you grab enough of it, you can use it as stuffing. So here's a normal cotton ball, and then I'm just, well, I pulled the side off right there, but you can unravel it. I didn't do a very good job with this one. Yeah, but all cotton is just a long strip. You see a long strip like that? And then they just roll it up really tight. And that's a cotton ball. So if you have the patience and the materials, you can just get a cotton ball and just unravel it. Yeah.
Great.
Great. These are really good questions. Okay, so here's that stuffing and here's the stuffing. I mean, it is your pillow. Ultimately, you can stuff it with whatever you want. You can stuff it with newspaper, leaves. I don't think that'd be comfortable or sanitary, but you can stuff it with coins. Again, I don't think it's very comfortable, but you can stuff it with whatever you want. All right, you guys. All right. So I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I hope you've learned a skill. I hope you guys are able to make some pillows. I would love it if you guys take a picture and share with us. Let me give you, let me share with you a screen. So again, I really appreciate you guys joining me today. I hope you guys learned something. I would love to see your pillows. If you guys make any, please take a photo of your artwork and you can share it with us on our online art club gallery. It's listed on this link right here. We do have another art program in another 2 weeks. If you're interested, please register for it. My name is Miss Holly. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I really appreciate you guys being here today, and I can't wait to see what you guys make. So, and if you need to review this video again, it's going to be available to you on Facebook. So thank you so much, everybody. Bye. Thank you.